Lawrence Stephen Lowry was an English painter famous for his industrial townscapes, populated by his signature matchstick figures of factory and mill workers. His style has been categorized as naive, but his paintings captured a world that has largely been lost to us now. Based in Lancashire in the north of England, Lowry was driven to paint the cobbled streets and chimney stacks of the mill towns which drove the area's economy in the early 20th century. He only ever used 5 colours in his paintings: yellow ochre, Prussian blue, vermilion, flake white and ivory black, and that limited palette really serves to unite his body of work. Going to the match exemplifies much of Lowry's style, though of course this is a depiction of weekend leisure time away from the drudgery of the factory floor. It's one of Lowry's most famous paintings, and I love it because, as a northerner and a football supporter, it strikes a chord deep in my psyche. This was painted before my time, but any of these figures outside the stadium could represent my dad or my granddad, both of whom loved their football. In a sense, it feels as if I'm looking at where I came from. My home city of Liverpool wasn't filled with cotton mills as such, but it was an equally important industrial powerhouse in Lowry's time, and its port played a pivotal role in the cotton trade. And of course, Liverpool is synonymous with football. Look at the matchstick figures, swathes of working men bent into the cold wind in their oversized hats and boots, hands jammed in pockets, trying to keep warm under the trademark pale grey Lancashire sky. And there are women in the crowd too, a lovely reminder that back in Lowry's day, women as well as men went to football matches in big numbers. But there are some misconceptions about the painting. It's often said that it depicts the town of Bolton, and the stadium is Burnden Park, the home of Bolton Wanderers. But that's simply not true. Lowry is on record as claiming that all his townscapes were amalgams of reality. He took the elements he wanted and placed them in his paintings wherever it pleased him. The background of distant mills and chimney stacks wasn't a faithful copy of the Bolton skyline, but a symbolic representation of a typical Lancashire town. The football ground is likewise simply a generic football stadium of the day. Bolton Wanderers do not play in red. But Lowry was doing what all good fiction writers do. His real genius was in using fabricated townscapes to accurately depict the realities of industrial England. Now, it's widely accepted that this picture was painted in 1928, but other sources make the claim it was painted in 1953, and this is certainly the year it won a competition run by the English Football Association. When I visited the Lowry Museum in Salford a few years ago, I was told that the supporters outside the stadium have been arranged in a loose Union Jack formation, a sure nod to the Queen's coronation in 1953, thus providing evidence for this date. But I'm not so sure I really buy that. Look at this image of Lowry's Going to Work, painted in 1943. Couldn't a similar geometrical thing be read into the positioning of these workers? Other inventories of Lowry's body of work simply denote the date of the painting with a question mark. I'm sure someone somewhere has the definitive answer. Although Lowry was the official artist at Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953, he was certainly no flag-waving nationalist. In 1968, at the age of 81, he turned down a knighthood. He's believed to hold the record for turning down honours, something he'd previously done 4 times. When asked about this, he's alleged to have said, "There seemed little point once mother was dead." His parents had both died in the 1930s. Those who sneer at Lowry's naive style cite his stick figures, the total absence of shadows, and the general lack of technical rigour in his work. Perhaps they miss the real essence of his art. I'll leave you with a quote from the man himself. "You don't need brains to be a painter, just feelings."